Hello, welcome to Indigo Goddess. I am your host, Lindsay the Blue Pixie, and we've got Indigo Ash and our special guest, Michelle, today. I wanted to start out. Hello, guys. I'm so excited. I wanted to start out with pulling a card and do a Goddess of the Week. It's from the Divine Feminine Oracle. So let's just pick up what guidance we need. It's Saint Brigid, Our Lady of Exalted Light. I give endlessly because the light is without end. My soul is all I need.
I love that.
So she is asking us to give this week and remember our light.
Beautiful.
Lovely. So Michelle, what have you been up to?
Nothing. Just trying to enjoy the holidays and take it slow and take it peaceful and not be rushing around like everybody else.
Right? That's lovely. Ashley, anything new on your end for adventures?
Not really. Just finally settled into a camp spot for 5 or 6 days now, I think. It's been lovely to be stopped. I've had some really interesting spiritual things happen this last week. So
that's
just trying to process those. So
anything cool. You want to share?
Sure. One that just keeps sitting with me really strongly is that I was surrounded by people. So my sister and my son, I was holding my dog on a leash. Like there were several of us in we were getting ready for bed. And all of a sudden I hear 8 or 9 it sounded just like a bass drum or like a ceremonial drum being played. And it was loud, like it was booming. And just boom, 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 boom. And I'm looking around and I'm going, what is that? And everyone's looking at me like, what are you talking about? I don't know, like it felt like something really deeply important. So I'm still sitting with that a bit and trying to figure out. We're in Central Florida, so I think maybe a little south, but trying to consider like what American Indian tribe or Native American tribes are local to here and stuff like that. Just seeing if maybe Lindsay suggested maybe we transcend a time and I was part of a ceremony for a moment or something. It was really neat. So
that's what I was going to suggest. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. And I've had 2 other really interesting events. Saw myself in a Merkaba, which I've never considered that, or Merkaba. I'm not sure how people pronounce it. And I also had an overnight encounter that was really strange. And maybe if we have some time at the end, we could go through that because I'd love to get some people's input on what that was about. So
that's really cool.
Awesome. And these things are happening like out in the forests or mostly like camping spots. You're seeing these things, feeling these things. Yeah, that's awesome. Out in nature.
Yeah, the place we're in is beautiful. It's like really tall pine trees and palm trees all scattered around in between. We're surrounded by like 4 different lakes. One's called Firefly Lake, Gator Lake, Hardy Lake, and then I can't remember the 4th. But anyway, it's wild. Like there's coyotes and raccoons and opossums and gators, snakes. Awesome. Like I've seen hawks and vultures. It's been a really neat place. Also, I guess there's bobcats or something too. So we haven't seen any of those, but it's been an adventurous spot.
Nature is definitely trying to talk to us, trying to get in touch with us. They They want us to know things and remember things.
Oh my gosh, speaking of nature, you just sparked this. On Thanksgiving, we were driving and we were at a stop sign and there were thousands of birds circling, and I've never seen them, like they were this close to the ground. Like they were circling around the ground and then they go up, and then there were just birds standing in the field and then all over the power lines, and I'm like, that is not normal. I've like birds would just like gather in like a spot, and like they were just flying it, and then the other ones were just like chilling, and I'm like, what is going on? Is there like a certain vibration that's going on there?
Yeah, like, are they opening a portal? Because there's been videos that I've seen that there's animals all around the world that like on farm animals that just keep going in a circle, and like for days, like 4 days, they're just circling and circling, and it's like, what are they circling? You know, there's some kind of vibration or something there that they see and feel that we don't know, you know,
Because they're on a very energetic, like instinct level, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. So Michelle, I want to hear about your lovely spell jars. She sent me a lovely spell jar with it. It was just so cute and it makes me so happy.
It's just something that I started doing that makes me happy, you know, and I just use my intention, and I use crystals and herbs and anointing oils, and just put it all in these jars for whatever intention I'm feeling, or whoever I'm making it for. And I've just made them for friends, family, and just so far I'm just doing it for fun. I just like doing it for whatever, you know. I've made it for passion. I've made one for dreams. It's limitless.
I didn't know there were essential oils. That's too, like I was like, I saw the
yeah. I got these anointing oils that I love. They're called Kate's Magic.
Oh. So this is
Yes.
little...
I'm sad a little. That's what made it cute.
I like it next to it because it's like,
yeah.
Out.
And then you can get the energy from that. Hold
yes.
it.
I put it on my I have a slab of tree agate.
Oh, pretty.
Like put all my intentions on my tree agate.
Yeah. And like even the candle, the wax, you know, even the color of the wax has, you know, ties in with the intention. You know, every candle has a different vibration, different meaning, and it's just, I've just always been drawn to magic, and this is how I'm doing it.
Right? I always said, like when I was younger, I was super religious. I was like, if I was anything else, I think I'd be Wiccan.
Right.
But it's kind of evolved to different. So do you I have a few, like I just learned yesterday about, I mean, what's weird is that I've heard about muscle testing, and I just didn't realize I was doing it always. For some reason I thought it like was something weird. So I was doing like the pendulum and stuff, and with intention. I've been thinking about intention and getting our own answers.
Yeah.
And like it's interesting because like I used to ask like this one friend, like I'm like, okay, she always has insights, she talks through guides, and I'm like, I was like, you know, sometimes like it's good to bounce something off someone else, because like sometimes I'm too close to the situation and I'm like, I can't, like, is it because I want to get this answer? So like asking someone else. But I found recently that like I'm the one that knows the answers. I'm the one closest to the situation, and I know all of the details, and my spirit, my higher self, and I've been doing like a human pendulum as well as doing cards and stuff to and like I've been practicing doing like different decks, so like asking the same questions with like 5 different decks to see and that like it's always the same answer, so I'm like, okay, that's a nice confirmation.
Yep.
Same feeling in different decks.
Yeah. And no matter how many times you shuffle, it's always the same answer.
Yes. And trusting ourselves. Like I feel like I've come across and I was like, okay, now I understand why my friend like she would just kind of be like, like and I'm like, okay. And I think trusting ourselves is something that does not come easily, especially when it comes to intuition, magic, things like that, because we have been, the media, everything from a very young age has programmed us to think that we're not special, and that there are these archetypes, but we are not that, like, and there's no way, I don't know, like, I feel like I was, like, I just wasn't in an environment that helped me explore to trust myself. Right. And that has been a nice journey for me this last year. I've been really starting to trust myself more.
Okay. Yeah.
Just, like, the first thought that comes to you, pay attention to that.
Exactly. Yeah. And just, I had a thought and then I lost it. What is going on? Yeah. And believing in yourself, believing that I am magic. I am powerful. I can do this. You know what I mean? It's all belief. If you are trying to do magic and you don't believe in it, it's not going to work. It's all like it's all coming from in you. It's all you. Like, and once I figured that out, like once I figured out that the person in the mirror was all I needed, was everything. Like, I mean, it changed my whole universe. I'm just like, the answer was that person in the mirror the whole time, that person that I put down all these years, you know what I mean? And then just like the universe just opens up and you're like, oh my gosh, like I am these things. I can be these things, you know what I mean? And it just changes. So it's so amazing. And I grew up in a Christian home, believing in the Christian God. I still believe in the Christian God because that's my tradition. That's how I was raised. He's never let me down. I think God has a million different faces, a million different names for every, all the different tribes, all the different people all around. One God, different faces, different names. That's what I believe, but just happens to be that, when I pray, he looks like the Christian God. That's just, you know what I mean? So then I've just picked and chosen what I like and what makes me feel good, and stepped away from the church. It was the church that was making me feel gross, not God. It was the people and the hypocrisy. And so I just took my God and picked and choosed and, tossed it with magic and made the most beautiful spirituality that I could ever imagine.
Sounds just about like me and Lynn's, all right?
Like, I think
each in our own individual way.
Yeah,
absolutely. I was actually talking about this yesterday with somebody that it's about like our inner knowing of what God, the one true creator, whatever you identify with, I think is fine. Your intention is what matters.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, like you said, God has 1,000 names. And to me, I believe that everything's a different analogy, right? It's just like what resonates with you and your soul. It's the same story put in a different way. It's a different setting, a different culture. What do you identify with? And take what you identify with and leave the rest. It your inner knowing, and nobody can tell you what you believe.
Exactly.
And when they start, that's when you have to take pause and be like, okay, do I really believe this, or is someone telling me I believe this? Like, going to and that has been very powerful. And having the courage to realize that being okay with change. Like, just because I thought this, I have new information that changes this, and I am willing to let go of that, because we can only know what we know until we know.
Yep.
Yeah,
I agree with that. But yeah, it's a beautiful, I think, I mean, if more people realize what a beautiful path you can create for yourself, you know, no rules, no churches telling you this is how you got to do it. This is, you know, you're bad, you're going to hell if you don't do it this way. Like, once you choose your own spiritual path, it's the most amazing, liberating thing that anybody could do. And I wish more people could do it. But they're trapped in that little building.
I believe, like, I think that it's important to have people to discuss these things with. But I think once there is an organized religion, there's too many, like, it becomes
distorted.
Yes, that is a perfect word. It becomes distorted. And then they put a cap on your spirituality, and like, you have to go through this person to talk to God. No, guess what? I know my inner, and I know that I have direct connection through here, and I go within, and he talks to me, or they talk to me. I don't really like he, but it's a programmed thing. It's they, or whatever, the universe.
Yes.
But again, I think those are semantics, that your intention of where you're going is important. And the light within, if you will, like letting it shine. And like, I like what you said about rules. Like, it's not about following rules. Like, once I had my paradigm shift, and like, I've had quite a few, it's like, all right, I'm starting from scratch. I don't know what I believe. I don't know what is true. I'm starting all the way over from scratch. And it's interesting what I have incorporated back in.
Right.
It's not rules. It is mindfulness of what I am comfortable with and what is good for me and for my highest and best. It's not, I don't do this because of this. It's, for me, this is what this means to me, and I find it sacred, and I'm not going to do the things that you know what I mean? It's all learning, and it's our own personal, because what's right for someone else may not be right for you. And recognizing our own inner knowing, if you will.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I just tapping in with our higher selves as much as we can, you know, just trying to be that higher self every day, all the time. You know, it's not, we're going to fall. We're not always going to be perfect. We're not always going to be, but it's just our intent to do that, to, you know, to just always try to be the higher version of ourselves is just how I want to live. You know, it's a learning. I remember, you know, I started like really, really down my spiritual path in like 2015. And I remember, you know, getting all these spiritual accounts and trying to like see, you know, pick and choose what I like. But I remember even in that feeling like it wasn't my own, you know, it still wasn't my own. I was following these other people, and it felt like, you know, my rituals weren't my own rituals. They were somebody else's. And it was like a chore, you know, it was becoming a chore. And now, like, my rituals are part of my daily, I don't even realize I'm doing them, you know, they're so ingrained in my daily routine, and I don't even realize that I'm doing my rituals, but I am, you know what I mean? And they just flow, and I just flow with it. And it just, but in the beginning, I remember like I had to like just get off Instagram for a while and be like, this isn't working for me. Like, I feel like I'm still being made to do, even in the spiritual path, not what I want to do, not was really truly remembering how I am supposed to be and how I was before. And that's my main thing. Like, I want to remember how my ancestors did things. I want to do it like them. I want to do, I want to really like revere the seasons, and I just love that. That is like so important to me, and I want to embrace it as much as I can, and so that's the journey I'm on right now. I don't know.
I love it. I was thinking about when you're talking that it's fun to find your own journey, and like when I follow my heart and like discern with my gut and mind, but like really following your heart and being in love in everything you do. I remember when I was younger and they'd be like, like, don't just think about God on Sunday, like, throughout the week. And I'm thinking to myself, I am too big. Like, I try to do these things, but I'm like, it wasn't really a part of, because I didn't realize it didn't resonate with me. It was just something I was born into. And there were things that did, but once I started, I found it funny that once I lost all of that, and like I would have said I was very religious, and I'm like, oh my gosh, no, I was religious. I wasn't spiritual. And I now every day I am thanking and being part, like honoring what God gave us, the the earth, the trees, the rocks, and being grateful just for where I am in my life. Grateful for all the blessings I have, and I'm grateful for all of my gifts. And I feel like once I started down that path, and honoring my own gifts within myself, they started becoming stronger. And because I was practicing every day with my gifts, like I was really surprised the other day. I had like a really loud like drop in, and I was like, whoa, I was like, that was loud. And they're like, well, you said you wanted clear guidance. I was like, well, thanks. I appreciate that.
I know. I love to say that. I always say, like, God doesn't give me nothing subtle. Like, he doesn't think I can get subtle messages. He's like, I'm going to hit you on the top of the head, and you're going to realize this is what you got to do.
We had a friend, my sister and I, about a year ago, after about a year and a half. Anyway, she's like, why not ask for gentle and kind paths instead of these Big Mac trucks you guys keep getting? And I thought, oh, so every so often I'm like, and God, if I'm missing something, please send me a gentle and kind reminder of what you want me to notice, instead of just this giant whoop right upside the head. So I feel like most of my reminders have been gentler and kinder since I started asking for that, because I'm like, I've done a lot of Mac trucks in my life. I think I'm ready for the gentle and kind side of me.
I think I still need to be pushed in the right direction. I'm still, what? I'm like not getting the signs. I'm like, what sign? You sent me signs, I didn't see it.
Oh my gosh, my favorite is, I've said this before, but like when you ask for a sign, I've done this like twice. I'm like, hey, I really want a sign. And literally like a second later, I look up and there's a sign that said, this is a sign. And I'm like, nice.
Yeah.
It's not subtle at all.
I know.
Like 5 seconds later, there's a sign that says, this is the sign. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
But then I keep asking because, this human experience is difficult sometimes and challenging, and not allowing myself to go really, and I don't know if allow is the right word, because it's like, if I need to go to a lower place, I allow myself to feel it and cry and like release those energies. And then I'm okay. And I feel like lately I have been having like, I'm not sure that these are coming from me. And I'm like, because I'll just be like, oh my gosh, suddenly I'm just so sad. And I just cry for like a minute. And then I'm like, oh, I'm totally fine. Like then it passes. And I'm like, I think because I'm transmuting whatever that is into love. And I was like, oh my gosh, I think like this is what I had this download the other day, that I believe that all of us star seeds and all of us, that this last couple of years has been where we are doing our work, where we are doing our shadow work, so that when the ball drops and we can be there to help others, because we see the higher picture. And it's hard sometimes, but I feel like I have grown so much in the last 2 years, and thinking about, because the universe just keeps showing me that it's taking care of me. And so I go in it more with trust and faith and knowing that it's going to be okay, instead of giving into the fear in the 3D and being, and it's been really weird. And I'm like, you know what's interesting is that once I disconnected from that world, I'm like, there really is nothing like I like off grid, if you will, like they can't find me. Or like even if they could, like I have disconnected myself from that 3D world. And sometimes, you know, we do still live here, so we have to, but I feel like the universe has shown me a better and easier path. And by letting go of, this has been something I've been really working on lately, is letting go of what the outcome looks like. Like hoping for what you want in a general, like this is where I want to go, but not being too over focused on the path getting there.
And I feel like that's sad. It makes me sad because I feel like a lot of people are stuck in that. They just are still waiting for the next outcome, and still waiting for the next shoe to drop, and still waiting, you know what I mean? And that just keeps everybody in such a state of anxiety and just like, ugh, you know what I mean? And I'm sure that's their whole plan, but it's sad. And I think, like what you said, I think we are, and I've gotten that message so many times, that this is our training. We're going through this so we can be strong for the future. This is our time, and we are the chosen. Even though it's been so hard, and I've had, you know, I've shaken my fist at God so many times, like, why, you know, why did you pick me for this? Like, I'm not, you know, because I'm an Aries, so I tend to be fiery, and I get a temper, and, you know, so, you know, back in the beginning of my spiritual path, like I was like, I'm not a gentle flower. Like I'm not these spiritual people like you see, you know, I'm not like that. So why did you pick me? And I remember I was in the bath and I was crying. I'm like, why did you pick me for this? I don't know how to do this. I'm not like, I'm always so amped up, you know? And he just like clearly was like, I didn't make you to be a gentle flower. I gave you wings of fire. You are a warrior. He said that clear and straight. And I was like, as soon as I heard that, like that changed it. I was like, oh my God. Okay, now I get it. Thanks. Why didn't you tell me that before? So I'm like, okay, I can be a warrior. I can't be a gentle flower, but I can be a warrior. Okay, I got it. So then I armored up and here we are.
I have been doing this amazing map journey. This lady, Sue, so she's amazing. I love her dearly. And I did my third yesterday. And something that she talks about a lot that really resonates with me is we are perfectly made for what our purpose is.
Yes. Love that.
We are all have a purpose. And when you really dive into yourself, like even something as simple as like knowing your name, like I wrote down my name, did like numerology on it, and just like getting to know the basic core of who you are. And I know that your name was given, but it still has energy. And just really diving into like my core, and I'm like, I like I feel like I am here to love, and I don't know, like I think about love all the time, like all different kinds of love, and like I just want the whole world to be love. And
Yes.
like I feel like that, like love, magic, and I found that I help people find their own magic. Like this has been something that has happened. I'm like, okay, this is something, it's like my energy tickles their fancy and like helps them realize their inner, I don't know, it's been really fun to find the little things that I uniquely can, that just do naturally, that I didn't even realize was happening.
Yeah. Yeah. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful path. But yeah, definitely. I mean, just it's the answer is so easy. It's love. Like everything, love is the answer, no matter what. It's love, no matter what anybody says, no matter what it's always love. And it's just too easy for our society to even grasp it. You know, they think they have to do all these works and they have to climb all these ladders and they have to do this and this. And it's just like, all we have to do is love each other and love ourselves, and it's done. And, you know, love ourselves, even if, you know, even if we're warriors with big wings of fire, like, you know what I mean? Like, I have shadows, but I still love them and I embrace them. And now it's like so much easier for me to keep everything even keel. You know what I mean? Now that I've embraced and love my shadow side, I can now control it better instead of being worried like, oh my gosh, what if, you know, this person says this to me and I'm gonna, you know, freak out. I don't have to worry about that anymore, because now I have control over my shadow, and I know that, you know, it's just a scared little girl and she doesn't have to be scared anymore. So like once you grasp that, but it's definitely a long path.
Yes.
Well,
It's
and
in our egos.
I was going to say, I think the path is shortening. And I think like people who are waking up now, possibly because we've done so much work, the path is shortened because we have all this knowledge that's taken us 10 to 20 years to get together and understand. They can learn so quickly. And I'm like grateful for that, for like the up and coming generations and stuff, that they don't have to work so hard maybe towards it. But I just wanted to pop in and say, like, I've noticed a lot of people commenting and stuff who have kind of woken up recently, and they're like, oh wow, I came from this starting point to this place, and I'm like, wow, that's fast.
Right.
Yeah,
And well,
that's
I
crazy.
hear young girls, you know, young teenager girls and boys talking, you know, some high spiritual stuff already. And I'm like, whoa, like you're only 17 years old. How do you know this? I wish I knew that at 17 years old. It's amazing. So yeah, I think there's definitely hope.
I think that us, I don't know if you call it the middle generation at the moment, but I think that us stopping the emotional abuse, us stopping the cycle, us realizing that there is a better way. And I'm not perfect. And I, you know, especially at the beginning when I had kids and stuff, like learning and talking to my daughter about these things and being like, I am so sorry for these things. I only knew my brain, I was in a different headspace. I didn't know these things. And like, I don't know that my parents have ever apologized to me about things that they have done wrong. It's like it wasn't done. It's like, and that is not that they need, I mean, I've done, like, I understand and I see, it's like once you see the man behind the curtain, it's like, okay, you can see why their behavior is the way it is because of the environment they're in. And I have just learned to love, like my dad and I have a really amazing relationship right now, and I'm so glad, because he is an amazing person, and it took a lot of time, and just because we believe different things, we have come to a place where we can, you know, talk about spirituality, and it doesn't cause anger.
Yeah.
You know, like,
yeah,
just being myself and being like, I understand where you're coming from. This path feels more comfortable to me, and
yeah,
I'm following my heart. And I think it's really important. I think that is the disconnect a lot of the times with the older generation, or even any generation that has not realized that we can have different beliefs and different things, and we don't need to force the other person to believe what you believe.
yes,
And being decent human beings, and kindness, and you can love someone and respect them in their environment without compromising your own beliefs.
yeah,
I'm just mindful I'm not stifling what I say. I'm being respectful of, and if there's something that is emotionally abusive, I will say something.
yeah,
but
yeah,
but things that really are just belief and where they are in their journey, we're all in different places, and respecting that they will come to their own time, because when you try to force something, all it does is make them resist. And it's kindness and love, and by example, that we help change
yeah,
the world.
yeah. I totally agree. Example is, seeing work people do the work is, so much more than them, seeing it written in words or whatever. I want to see an example. People can say things, but show me how you really are, and then if you show me how you really are and I don't like it, then I don't have a problem anymore just saying, okay, I saw that, and I'm gonna walk away now. You know what I mean? Like we have to have boundaries, and I didn't before, and I do now, and I'm so proud of myself because it's so important. So important. It's a big, huge difference when you say no to these toxic people that just there's nothing you can say or do to help them. They're in their own situation, and you just have to walk away, sometimes with love, wish them love.
Self-love is very, very important. And it's interesting because it's like, don't be selfish, whatever. But you know what? If you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of other people. And I think that everyone has been in survival mode for so long, and that they haven't even had a chance to think about, what work they want to do, and their inner work, and figuring out and letting go, because they're too busy and just trying to survive, that it's not conducive to, moving forward. And that, I think, has been part of the plan of this of, all along, to keep us enslaved. And self-love, when you start to really embrace yourself, self-love, then if everyone loved themselves, then we would all love each other, because then we would be not worried about what other people are doing. We're like, this is how and then it's like magic. It's contagious, that the love and light, and just walking in a room changes the energy of things. And when everyone starts to do that, then we will love others, because then we give to others, because when we give to others, we give to ourselves. And but giving to ourselves and making sure it's important to love ourselves and do things for ourselves that we would do for other people.
Yes. Yeah, I started mirror work Oh, it's been like a year and a half. And at first, when I first like discovered it, I was like, oh, I don't know, it didn't resonate with me at first. So then I circled back around, came back to it, and then it did. And at first it was weird, looking in the mirror, looking at your body that you always criticize your whole life and you're never happy with. And I cried a lot. But then I started to love my body. I started to love my body more than I ever have in my life. The lumps, the bumps, all the imperfections, I don't even see them anymore. All I see is a beautiful woman in the mirror. And that is like, it's so amazing. And that word selfish was made to make us feel guilty for loving ourselves, for really believing that we are beautiful beings. And we are, all of us are, and all of us have the ability to look in the mirror and see that. But we've been so stifled by society that it's a hard journey, but I recommend it for everybody. I mean, it's an amazing thing. Like, so every day I just check in with myself. It doesn't, sometimes it's 20 minutes, sometimes, longer, and just let myself know I love you, you're beautiful, like you're sacred, you're a temple, like whatever I want to say that day. Sometimes I'll dance, like whatever. But it's really become part of my devotion, like, and I really really recommend it to everybody. It's really beautiful.
I love that. I think that is a huge part of loving yourself. The distortion of the body image that society has, like I don't even, in my experience, the men I've dated in past whatever, everyone is attracted to something different. And the goddess body, like the Venus, like that is, it's a renowned statue for a reason. It's the divine feminine. And we have children, sometimes we have baby bellies, like these are all beautiful things that embracing and knowing that we are our best selves. I feel like that actually helped my body be like kind of settle into its place. Like,
Exactly.
like I love myself and I'm mindful, but I don't, if I want to eat a piece of cheesecake, I will, because life is short and cheesecake is delicious. But I'm not
Exactly.
going to eat a piece every day because I would probably feel sick. And just loving your food. I actually heard something, I don't remember where I heard it from, but they said that by being upset about what you're eating actually turns on the cortisol or whatever, and then it's counterintuitive. It's loving what you're eating, being grateful for what you're eating.
Yes. And I have an intent of, even if I have a hamburger from In-N-Out, that everything I put into my body I can alchemize it into the highest nutrition. You know what I mean? So like, even this whole thing has like helped me with just everything, like what you said, like what you're putting into your body, what it's mindful. But I used to diet and do all the fad diets, back then, just such a waste of time. Such a way, I feel so bad for, beating up my body for all that stuff. And now, like, I'm not going to criticize myself for having Chick-fil-A. I love Chick-fil-A. I don't care. I'm going to tell everybody that I love it. So, and it's not going to make me think bad about my body. It's not going to make me think bad as a person. Like, it's just, I'm going to embrace what I love, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Like Lindsay says, like being more mindful. Like, we were driving kind of out of our way today and we're starving and we're just like, we need food. And the first place that popped up was a McDonald's, and I've not been wanting to eat there because there's a lot of rumors. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna ask the food to be in my highest and best and to turn to the nutrition my body needs, and I feel great. You know what I mean? And it used to be I'd eat something from McDonald's and feel sluggish and gross and unwell. You know what I mean? And now I'm just like, no, I'm gonna actually sit over this food and ask that it change to be what I need it to be. And we've been probably not eating as many calories as we should on our trip sometimes. And so I sat there, I probably had like a Big Mac and like 7 or 8 chicken nuggets and like half of a large fry. Like I was like just eating. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I was going to town on the food. And I was like, I had told my kids I'm never eating at McDonald's again. You know what I mean? Like I was like, after I'd heard some stuff, and then I was like, I don't know that I believe that, but I want to be in flow and just allow things to happen. And I do believe that if we ask, like one of my biggest goals is to learn how to change the frequency of things around me. When I was very young, if people asked me what I wanted to do when I grew up, I wanted to go to a cabin in the woods and learn to walk through walls. And like, I don't know how I thought I was going to do it at that age, but that's what I wanted to do. And the more I understand about frequency and vibration and stuff like that, I genuinely think I just need to vibrate at a certain frequency in order to go straight through something solid, you know, what looks solid. And I'm like, why can't I apply that to food or to drink and just have it be what I need it to be at that moment? So that's been something I've been trying to be more mindful of. It sounds crazy. I love it all. It all sounds so crazy, but it is what it is.
I love what you're saying. And I think that, you know, even though, yes, McDonald's is not healthy, like we know this, but also being mindful of like, sometimes we're on the road. It's the only thing there. We're starving. Guess what? Eating is important. And like I've been
for our bodies.
Yes. Like I feel like some days, like I am like, I don't eat. I'm not hungry all day. And I feel like my body's been like more like every other day. And then sometimes I'm like starving and I'm like, I could eat everything. So I'm like, I'm just listening to my body and what my body is telling me. And you know what, especially like if you're in low on funds, you're in the car, like McDonald's, you have, you know, tons of people. McDonald's is
everything's gonna this planet.
Yeah. And so like it's not going to McDonald's every day, but like yes, there may be bad things there, but sometimes there isn't. It is the easiest way and the easiest path for that moment, and we have to let go of something sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Like we still
also
have
the judgment of others, because like I bet there's people out there who'd listen to this podcast and go, oh, you know, I can't believe she ate there or something like that. And I'm just like really trying to find that place where of not judgment or whatever, you know what I mean? And I'd much rather have gone to a Chick-fil-A than to the other.
Oh, that's my cuckoo clock, sorry.
Oh, lovely. Attention. Oh yeah, I love Ashley. Like I was like, I love how you said like changing the vibration, because I think just being grateful that you have something, you know, saying highest and best, like if we can change vibration, why not? Why can't we, you know, like and it's not something like I'm going to do every day and be like, I'm just going to eat McDonald's anyway, you know. It's mindfulness of time and a place, and sometimes it is what it is. And you know, like I crave some, like every once in a while I will crave a root beer. Like I don't really drink soda at all anymore, but I'm like, I wonder like what's in it, if it's like the birch or something that your body, I don't know.
Yeah, our body's telling, like I crave raw milk and meat like a big steak when it's my moon time. Sounds crazy, but that's what my body wants. That's what it craves. And I feel so much better when I get those things. And like I crave high fat foods. Like I've been on like low calorie diets. They don't work for me. They work for other people, but I need a healthy balance. I can't just do one, I can't do all meat. And I just figured out, what works best for me and how I feel my best and go with it and stop listening to everybody else.
I think that being mindful that we are all different. Our bodies are different. We're designed differently. And knowing that each of us are different. And yes, it's always good to be mindful of what we're eating. But some of the healthy stuff isn't healthy that they've been telling us. So like, you got to just do, and you can do muscle testing, if you're really wanting to know if something is bad for you. And really you have to go by the way you feel. I mean, that is, all you can do, I think, is to, not be over crazed about. I think when we overthink things is when it starts going down the bad path of worrying too much about this other thing, and then it becomes a bad vibration for us.
Yeah, totally agree. It's a balance. It's a tightrope walk.
Indeed. Balance in everything. And I also I know from experience, like I grew up, we had candy all the time. Like my dad owned a chocolate factory. We went to candy conventions. Like we never not had candy. And because of that, I really didn't eat that much. Yeah, I'd have a little bit there, but it wasn't something that like I had to hoard because we always had candy. And I saw other people's families who like they weren't allowed to eat sugar, and like, and they, as they got older, they got all they did was eat so much sugar because they were so suppressed from that thing.
Yeah.
And that it creates like an overcompensation. And
Exactly.
so it's, yes, be, like your kids, I feel like my kids only ate too much candy one time. They're like, they had a stomach ache and then they don't do it again. Like my little one is very mindful. Like I'm only going to have a couple pieces and then I got to have real food. And that's his own regulation because it's never, I teach them why these things instead of just don't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is,
they're gonna be like, oh, yeah, whatever, I'm gonna do it. Whatever I tell my kids not to do, they're gonna do it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And you're told that you're not supposed to do things even though you're unhealthy, and then you have a paradigm shift, then you try everything. I've been there. So it is a path. And it was my journey, and I feel like I learned faster because I did everything, and then I came back around and found my own balance of, okay, this thing does not make me feel good. I do not want to do this anymore. And then just being healthy in general, being more healthy because I'm more mindful of myself and loving myself and being like, you know what, these things actually don't serve me. And I think that everyone's in their own time and their own journey. And that is a beautiful thing.
For sure. Yeah. I don't know. My thoughts are like, I'm like listening to you and I'm like, oh, that's a good point. And then when you get done, I'm just like, it just went away.
I feel like the last couple weeks there has been crazy energy, and like I will have like this amazing thought and then like it'll just like go over and I'm like, what is happening? Like it just drifts out.
Because every time I'm like, oh, I'm gonna write that down later, I don't remember it every time. It makes me so mad. I need to just like carry it around my back pocket. I'm gonna write that down.
I'm like, I don't have any paper. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have this thing called a phone that has a thing, like a notes in it. And I'm like, I can write it in my phone. And yeah, I've been trying to write things down because I'm like, I won't remember. And like this thought, sometimes I feel like they flit in and out because maybe it's not the right time to say it. You know what I mean? Like I do feel like we are guided in that way as well.
That's true.
Or they're just blocking the information. I don't know.
I know, like some of the stuff, like I'm like, I feel like somebody took it away. I've gotten like some crazy downloads. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I feel like someone's just like sucking it up that came in, you know what I mean? And I'm like, wait, don't go. I still need you.
Did someone pause and flashy thing us?
Yeah, weird. And I'm like, I need that information. It's so weird. Yeah, there's definitely, we're being, suppressed by the dark sometimes, I think.
Yeah. What were you saying, Ash? I can't hear you.
There we go. I refuse consent to flashy things being used on my memory, or for them to snatch good higher vibration thoughts out of my mind so that I can keep manifesting the higher and better path. Because I feel like the direct opposition, that it feels recently like every time I start down a really good mental path or something and I'm talking out loud, it's only been in the last like week or two that this has felt pretty strong, but I do wonder if there is something going on where they're trying to undo. I hate saying they, but like it does feel like there is something trying to keep us from those higher thoughts. So
well,
I keep saying I refuse consent to any and all interference and any parasites, any of that. So,
I have felt that maybe as the Earth's vibration is rising, the darkness, as it's being dissolved or whatever, is trying to like make as much chaos on the way out as possible. And I think it is important to keep not to remember that. So like when you get like a flash of something and sadness, like maybe this isn't mine, and you can ask, is this mine or is this someone else's? And because I've been like, I have thought all these really exciting things been happening, like I have been really happy and on a high vibration. So when these sadness come through, I'm like, this definitely isn't mine because I'm not feeling this way. And so that has helped. But when I am sad, it's harder to tell. So that is something, to be mindful of, that the energy may not be yours, and that you can ask. And if it isn't yours, love it and then send it back with love or confidence or whatever you feel intuition to, a positive vibration to send it back to that person. And I think sometimes that is our purpose, to transmute the negative energy into a positive vibration.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're clawing and they're screaming and they're trying to drag us down with them, and we just have to just make sure we reject as much as we can.
Just be like, that's funny.
Yeah,
that's not even true. I don't even think that about myself. Like, whatever.
Like, weird. Me, I was at the store, and the girl checking me out, she had a lot of kind of like demonic tattoos, which I think it was more like a darker witchcraft type thing, but I don't know. But she had a demon, and it looked me straight in the eye. She was still doing this, and then she looked up at me. The demon, not her, looked me straight in the eye and smirked at me. And it wasn't her, it was a freaking demon. And I was like, oh my God. But it wanted me to know that it saw me. It knew I was there. It knew I was, the light in the room. And it was like just making itself known to me. And I was like, but it didn't scare. I just kind of smirked back at him, and I was like, whatever. And then she looked up and gave me my change, and it was her again. But I was like, that was some crazy thing. So yeah, they're out there. They're trying to take us down. So we have to be careful. And it was.
Oh, sorry.
What'd you say?
I was just gonna say, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry. One of the videos I'd been watching recently, the guy and the girl on it, they were saying, you know, we have to go travel through that 4D to get to the 5D briefly. And they're like, that's probably, you know, when the Bible talks about parts of men will fail or whatever, is like as we transition straight up, if you're not high enough vibration, maybe you'll see all that 4D stuff. And I'm like, I cancel that. I'm not seeing any of that 4D on my way out. I'm just going straight up to but I do think, you know, I do think like this knowledge of what's coming, of what's changing, what we're going to see different, even the sky's going to be different and all that. Preparing like our families for what they might see. So I've had visions of what the sky really looks like and what's just beyond our atmosphere and stuff like that. And it's not what we see currently. Yeah. And that made me think, like, because I do think we'll see some of these 4D entities. I think we'll see real ones, and I think we'll see fake ones. And I just want, I do think it's important that we start preparing those around us in whatever way they can hear for what they're going to see, because I really do think some people will be scared near to death during that transition if they're not buzzing high enough or vibing high enough. And so like that popped into my head because like you saw what you saw. And I've had something recently where I was like, this person isn't even talking to me right now. This is another entity attached to this person who's talking to me. And I, you know, and trying to, you can't really clear it for them or, you know, or say to them because I just don't even think they can hear the words. And I've noticed also that there's been a lot of miscommunications happening with people who are in a different like space. Like it's like they don't even hear me or see me almost. And I'm like, I'm right here. You know, I'm like, I'm right here. And they're just like, la, 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 la. And I'm like, so it's been a really interesting time to be alive.
That's for sure. Definitely. But there's definitely a disconnect, you know, when we're at the grocery store, you're talking to people. I feel like I'm speaking a different language to people. I'm like today, I wanted to try a chai tea. I always order a chai tea. I don't drink coffee. They put coffee in my chai tea. And for me to like try for them to get, they couldn't understand that I didn't want coffee in my chai tea. It was the strangest thing to me. I was like, I had to like stand there and keep telling them over and over, I do not want coffee. I just want chai tea. And finally, after like 5 million times, they understood. But I was like, why are we having such a hard time today?
Like, but why? Everyone wants coffee.
I don't drink coffee. I'm not the only person I can't be.
I don't like coffee either. I've tried. I drink tea. I've got my Earl Grey right here. I drink London Fogs. I like chai. I like chai tea. I live in a small town, so we don't have Starbucks here, and I really like Starbucks chai tea.
I like chai tea.
What did you say, Michelle? You're
does have a good London fog, though. I will give them that. Yeah.
I love London Fogs. There's this cute little coffee shop. It's the only coffee shop in town right next to the crystal shop I work at. I'm like, nice. And they make amazing. And they've had these poppy seed almond cookies. I've had one every day for the last week. Except yesterday because they're closed, but they are so good. I'm like, oh my gosh. Just sometimes food is delicious.
It is.
If
and it can
happy, vibration up, that's happy.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and treating yourself once in a while to that cookie at the coffee store is self-love.
Yes, the cookie at the coffee store is self-love, and they're homemade. So there you go. Probably made with love.
Exactly. I love that.
Yay. Well, ladies, is there this seems like a good stopping point. Is there any other thoughts or messages that either of you would like to share before we wrap up? No? Okay. Well, I love you both, and I'm so happy to have talked to you today. And Michelle and Ashley, and everyone remember it's
Can't see it.
Saint Brigid. I don't know how to take the off.
When you
It's
come
probably because of your blurring.
Yeah, I don't know
your-
how to... Oh,
there
there
you go.
Hold
Yeah.
on,
There you go. I loved our talk. I thought it was beautiful, and I think we're all in sync, which is awesome.
Yes. So shine your light, ladies, and your goddesses. Be your goddess selves. If you'd like to be a guest on our podcast, please let us know. And we love you all, and have a lovely holiday season. And we'll talk to you next time.
Love you all. Bye.
Thank you.